It's really great to see so many faces here that we are familiar with. Most of the projects that are partnering up with TDeFi are also partnering up with us to raise funds. So the presentation. Okay, sure. So just a quick introduction. My name is Hadi. I'm the CEO and founder of Agora Group. Agora Group is a company based in Dubai with the mission of helping startups get access to investors and funds. So we deliver this through live events. We connect our partners with pre-qualified and pre-selected investors in specific verticals. We work a lot in disruptive technology. Blockchain is definitely our most active vertical. So we work a lot in the blockchain space, and we have helped many companies raise funds. So what I'm going to be talking about today is what does it take exactly to raise funds? Raising funds for startups is sometimes a life or death situation. How easy is it to raise funds for startup? How do they raise funds? And how we can help them do this? So in my talk today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the ecosystem of the startup in the MENA region. And then I'm going to talk about raising funds specifically in this region. And then we will explore together how we can help our partner do this. Okay, so some trends here regarding the IT startup ecosystem in the MENA region. If you look back at the VC, especially the VC ecospace in the GCC countries, if you go back maybe 6 or 7 years, this space was almost non-existent. Most people who wanted to raise funds in this region would have to tap into either high net worth individuals or family offices. Family offices in this region play an important role in the structure of the economy and are major sources of fund for startups. However, in the last 5 years, there has been a significant uptake in the amount of investment done by VCs. So we're witnessing institutional and professional investors that are taking a really keen interest on the startup ecosystem in the region. In 2020, there was over $1 billion invested in startup in the MENA region. That was up from 704 million in 2019. If you look at this year's figure, in the first half of 2021, we've already raised, the VC or the startup ecosystem had shown significant growth from 1 billion to 1.2 billion in 6 months. If the trend continues, we're going to see more than 100% increase from 2020 level to 2021 level. The main players in the system, or the majority of the deals that are happening in the startup ecosystem in the region, are concentrated in 3 major geographies. The UAE takes the lead with a significant amount of the money that is raised in the GCC area is taking place here in the UAE, followed by Egypt, who is a very strong hotbed for amazing startups and amazing ideas. Egypt, just for comparison's sake, Egypt has more than 100 million people in it. The UAE has maybe 10 million people. Egypt is in the second place, followed by KSA in the amount of money that are poured into startups in the region. As far as where this money is going to, what kind of technology and what kind of specific applications, fintech and e-commerce are still the leading recipients of venture funds. Sometimes fintech is on top, sometimes e-commerce is on top, but these two are always at the top of the recipients of venture capital. Healthcare is also a very important vertical that is emerging as a strong contender for where the money is going. So this is just to set the stage a little bit for where we are as a region in the startup ecosystem and where the money is being poured. I would like now to speak a little bit on how do these VCs decide to invest. There was probably the most extensive study on this subject was done by Harvard Business Review. And I'm going to share with you some of the findings of the study. So only 30% of the deals that are actually closed by VCs come from former colleagues or work acquaintances. So these are networks, these are connections, these are not deals that the VC as an entity is actively pursuing or actively chasing. 30% of the deals, so there's 30% of them are coming from colleagues and ex-workers. So basically the network, the informal network of the VCs. The same amount is coming from active participation or active pursuit by the VCs themselves. These are people that are actually on the phone, researching, making calls to find out where they should invest their money. So if you are a VC, only 30% of the deals that you are closing are basically being initiated by you as a company. 20% of the deals come from referrals by other investors. So of course the VCs pull money from different investors and then they invest the money. So from this pool of investors, they got a substantial amount of referrals for potential investment deals. 10% from cold emails. So this is from companies pitching the VCs. Only 10% get actually funded. And 8% from referrals by existing portfolios. So I invested in company X referred me company Y for potential investment, and then I decide to invest with them. Okay, this is basically where it gets a little bit tricky, and the numbers show how hard it is actually to raise funds for entrepreneurs. The statistic shows that out of 101 applications that the investors see, they invest in one company. So imagine you have to go through 101 potential investments to actually close one deal. If you look at it from the other side of the equation, if you are a startup and you want to raise money, not funny, if you want to raise money from professional investors, from VCs, if you meet 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and everybody says no, you're just starting to scratch the surface. It takes 101 meetings with 101 different VCs on average to raise funds. So this number, I mean, I really want everybody to look at this number very carefully, because if you want to raise funds on your own as a startup and you want to have time and the resources necessary to meet with 101 investors, then basically your full-time job, 99% of your job as an entrepreneur is talking to investors to see where the money is going to come from. So this is where Agora comes in. We want to help you actually reduce the time that it takes you to raise funds and make your fundraising quicker, cheaper, and more focused. How we do this is by pre-qualifying the investors for you guys and making sure that there is trying to match the needs of the investors, the need of the startups, before they actually connect with each other. How do we do this? What is the process? we have a very specific way of pre-qualifying the investors. I have been living and working in the UAE for the last 18 years. Agora was launched 3 years ago, but throughout this period of time, we've been able to build an extremely strong network of investors, both in the region and globally. Talking about investing in blockchain here in the region 3 years ago was a completely different story than what it is right now. Fortunately, Agora has been at the center of educating the investment community about the potential of investing in digital assets through introducing them to solid projects. The process that we do or that we go through in order to select or to help the matchmaking session is that we host a series of events that are closed-door events and are purely investment-driven. In our typical blockchain event, we host around 100 to 120 investors from all over the world, and we host around 15 to 20 projects on every edition of the event. All these projects are, and then we arranged for a certain number of one-on-one meetings between the startups that want to raise funds and with investors. The investors, before they come to the event, had already seen the project. They understand what the project is looking for, how much money they're raising, if they're raising against tokens or equity. So they have all the necessary information to decide if this is something that they want to actually be interested in or not. And then at the event itself, they do the one-on-one meetings. And then after the event, we help them do the follow-up to close the deals. So this format, what it does is it brings you all the investors into one place. So instead of you chasing every investor, it takes you a couple of weeks to get a meeting with the investors and then to try to see them personally. We bring all the investors into one place. We bring the project onto one place, and we match them up together. This reduces the time and reduces the expenses of raising funds. So this is basically what we do. These are our services. We do a series of conferences that are investment-driven in different verticals. Blockchain is our biggest one. But we also do those kind of events in different verticals. We work a lot in healthcare. We work in education, in cybersecurity, in energy, and in sustainability. And all of our events follow the same models. We have investors. We have projects that are raising funds in these verticals, and we match them up together. For companies that don't operate in these verticals or cannot wait for an event to happen to raise funds, we offer a service called Private Investors Meeting, where we work with you specifically to raise funds. We also do market research and market expansion support for companies that want to expand into the region or any region from here, any outside region, and need help doing that. We offer these services. These are our upcoming events for this year, for the rest of this year, and for next year. If you guys are interested in any of these events, please come talk to me. This is our flagship event, the Global Blockchain Congress. Now it is on its 8th edition. It's taking place on November 8th and 9th at the Sofitel, the Obelisk here. We're hosting more than 100 investors from all over the world. And we are going to have around 15 to 20 projects. If you are interested in that, please come talk to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hadi. That was phenomenal. Okay, now I would like to invite Ms. Firdaus Sheikh. She is founder of Drive, and Drive is disrupting the mobility of ride-sharing space. Ms. Firdaus, please.